And I want to just say that several things is important to, of course, acknowledge, and for you to see and really, I guess, I don't know, there's a acknowledging the acceptance of all the things, like legitimately all the things that are on your plate, all the things that that are weighing you down, things that you're working through, things that feel like and are obstacles to forward movement in a lot of ways, absolutely legitimate. And at the same time, figuring out where in those spaces to find hope, to find light, to be able to move toward without overwhelming with all of them, right? They're all there. Yes, they're there. But when we think about all of them all the time and are fully conscious of them all the time, we also feel the weight of them and feel anchored and trapped and stuck and or weighted down. So finding some space between, your reality, acknowledging what's real for you and what can you find hope and energy in, and what do you want to, what small pieces we can focus on, and little chunks that we can take off, just like you were describing ability to, or your the shift now in your energy levels requiring you to work maybe in sprints and and doing things in small chunks so that you aren't exerting all of your energy and just emptying the tank every single time you try to take on a task, because the reality of that too is the cost that has for us and for you now is probably much more significant than it has been in the past. Your rebound time, your ability to recharge and come back from those probably is taking you longer and or is not getting you to that full level because of all these other factors that are on board right now or in place. So that was one thing I wanted to say. So with the MS, I just want to recap what I heard you say about what taking care of your MS means would be to get regular activity, to, I don't know if I wrote this down, but I don't know if you actually, but what I heard in this and put a big box around it is the no support system. You said that a number of times.
Yeah.
And acknowledging what might be different if you could nurture that, and what that might look like, supports in what ways. Because yeah, well, so that I'll just leave it at that. What are your thoughts on that before I ask a different question?
Yeah, I've always been a big believer in community and family and support systems and all of that sort of thing. One of the reasons that I want to do this the way we're doing it, that I want to put it out there, is a couple reasons. One, to help other people who obviously they might not be in my exact situation, but people who could use help with their ADD specifically, but just in general, with making small, consistent changes to turn, even if it's not to turn your life around, just to get on a better path, to put it that way. Okay. And then another thing is, I'm old to have a 4-year-old. I'm 56. So, and with the MS, I expect that I will not be there for my daughter as she's older. And so to have, obviously I hope that this will reach a broader audience, but I'm also very aware that that I have an audience of one for a lot of this, that I want to document my journey so that she can see that when you're struggling, you keep trying things, and you reach out and you ask for help and all of those sorts of things. So there's the audience, but the community that I hope to connect with, it would be great to have more people in my, not real life, that's not a great way to say it, but locally,
physically,
to have more people locally.
Yeah.
But I've been meaning to, like so many of us, I've been meaning to get more involved with the ADA community, because I think it's a great community. When I interviewed you before, when I've interviewed other ADD coaches, ADHD coaches, we all talk about how important it is to have support systems and to know that you're not alone, and sometimes just to normalize some of the things we struggle with. Because if you don't have ADHD people around you, then you get a lot of what I've gotten my whole life,
Mhm.
Steve needs more discipline. Steve needs to focus. All of the things that are wrong with me. Uh,
Right.
so I would like to have a larger community that way.
Mhm.
There's an MS support. There's a local MS support group. I've attended, I think, 3 meetings, but it's hard because there are people in different stages of MS, and it's hard to see my future
Mm.
staring me in the face sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
and the other thing I find with support groups is everybody needs support. And so nobody is providing support. And I'd love to provide support, but also I'm tired enough as it is just dealing with my own stuff. So I would like to have more people to just bounce ideas off of, or to touch base with, or to have fun with. I like to play games on the computer. I've always enjoyed it. It was never the huge thing, but since my MS, I've been playing this one game in particular, World of Warcraft, which I used to play a lot with an old girlfriend of mine. And I play it way too much, and I would like to be more productive, which means play it less. But it's engaging, it's affordable, it's social, and it's not exhausting. And those
Okay.
are 4 big wins for me, right now.
Yeah.
To be able to hop on and have fun and chat. I'm just typing, but or sometimes we're on voice, to
Mhm.
chat with people and to have a social connection, I think is good and important. But I also think that there are other ways to get that. I remember when I interviewed Eric Tivers, he does these sessions which are basically just, let's all get, at least this is the way I remember it, let's all get together and work on stuff at the same time. And then he was, I think, facilitating it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I wouldn't facilitate it, but it would be great to just have some folks to say, look, from this time to this time, let's get on Zoom. Let's not talk to each other. Let's just
Mhm.
get some stuff done. And if we're having trouble, to just say, I see something shiny, and everybody could say, nope, nope, Steve, you can do this. And that sort of community, but also accountability, right? The
Mhm.
connection of, okay, on Mondays and Thursdays, I know I'm going to get 2 hours worth of work done, an hour on Monday, an hour on Thursday, and that's an anchor maybe
Mhm.
that I can build more productivity around. So
So, I mean, just to take the opportunity to share with you what you were talking about the ADA community, that there are several places right now that currently provide that, what you just mentioned. So, so just want to throw it out there for you to check back into and see if you want to engage in that right now to help support you. There's one already in place on Wednesday evenings, which is called the Productivity Power Hour. It's a body doubling working session, just like what you described, and it's on the Pomodoro style. So it's like 25 minutes working, and then you set an intention before you go. Everybody quickly checks in and says, I'm gonna work on my emails or do my laundry or do whatever, and then everybody mutes their computers and gets to work, and then comes back and says, how'd you do? Okay, what are you gonna work on the next 25? And just give people the opportunity to check in and reset if they need to, or if they're stuck, quickly just get a quick check-in and say, but then, so that's one that's already in place. But then the Tuesday accountability for you group is one of our support groups that has they have created this whole ecosystem outside of that Tuesday morning meeting, where they do body doubling sessions and they check in and do goal setting and other stuff through Discord threads outside of the meetings on Tuesday mornings. So that's a 9 Pacific group that meets every Tuesday. And then they have this other thing that you have to be a member of that group and attend to then get access to the other pieces of support, which are pretty robust at this point, that they have all created organically underneath that umbrella. So just as and there's other places you can get that too, but I think so finding that that's important, and those you're already paying for. If your membership with that is current, you get all that for free. So once you're joined, and then and those people have found so much support and compassion and community with each other by getting to know each other in these other ways outside of the meetings, and in the meetings too, of course. But there's a structure and a format for those meetings on purpose, to manage the time and the space. But then they have decided they wanted and needed these other components. So things like that can be really helpful. And when somebody else is, if it, especially, well, there's different ways. Each person kind of gets to decide what they, you know, how they work best. If you are a person, especially now, probably something like that, working in small chunks is going to be really powerful for you to manage your energy. And for many of us, if we tend to get either off track on a task or struggle with sustained attention on things or get sidetracked by something else, having those brief check-ins and saying, okay, I'm going to give all my focus to this one thing for this period of time. And I get to take a break and celebrate. And, or if I'm off track, figure out why and kind of recommit with some compassion and kindness. And then there's other people who have a harder time getting going. So it takes them a while to get activated and get into the swing of things. And so 25 minutes is too short because then they end up, they're just kind of getting into it and then it's time to stop. So they have chosen other formats or other ways, other sessions where they set up their own sessions where they're more like 45 or 50 minutes and then they check in. But each person, you know, kind of has, there's different styles and formats that can be really helpful. But for the MS component for support, so that's support around getting tasks done, accountability that sounds important to you. Are there any things that you feel like you might want to, that feel more like a lower bar, like a small step that you might want to take to move toward that in a way that feels reasonable?
Yeah, so we got a little I got a little far afield. You were asking what I need to manage my MS.
Yeah.
And there are two other things, but then I do want to answer that question. One is I give myself daily injections that I have been not as consistent as I should be.
Okay.
Not at all as consistent as I should be. So I want to get on that. And then because the MS has progressed, my physicians were going to move me to a different type of treatment. Instead of daily injections, it was going to be infusions like chemotherapy, but without you know, as many negative side effects. But it would make me immunocompromised. I was about to do that, and then the pandemic hit, and so we haven't done it for over a year. But I've been, you know, I've gotten my shots and things have gotten a little bit more under control. So one huge thing I need to do is call my doctor, make an appointment to go in, get reassessed. I worry because he might want me to get another MRI, and I'm extraordinarily claustrophobic. And I think that has been one reason that I've been putting that off.
Okay.
But it has to be done. So,
okay.
You know, and the last time I got an MRI, they sent me to what's called the large bore machine. You know, so it's not quite as enclosed. And I stayed up all night and I took the medication. I haven't had a drink at 9 o'clock in the morning so that I would just basically fall asleep in the MRI machine,
Okay.
which is not easy to do because they're loud, but
Yeah.
that got me through it. So I need to call my doctor. Until my doctor says otherwise, I need to start doing my daily injections. I need to take my fatigue medication every morning. There are some side effects that I'm not thrilled about, but they're manageable. So there are some things I need to do. One other thing about MS is one symptom of MS can be trouble concentrating, which is just what the doctor ordered for somebody with ADD.
Sure.
So that goes in there too.
Okay.
But now to get back to what you were asking, oh man, I would have been impressed if I could have held that in my head, but I lost it.
That's okay. Yeah. No, so I was just curious if you felt like you would be ready or want to make any steps toward moving toward the support around productivity and other accountability.
Yes. Yeah. So now I remember where I was going with that. So I did look into the ADA groups before. Wednesday evenings is a problem because I have my daughter Wednesday evenings.
Okay.
Although again, if it's 25 minutes on and if it's not sustained, if it's checking in, then I can say, all right, I've got my daughter and I'm going to fold laundry and she's going to try not to mess it up as I fold it, you know, whatever, we'll do something like that.
Yeah.
Tuesday mornings are always free. So Tuesday mornings would be great to be part of that group.
Okay.
The other thing you were asking about, you know, little things to get going. And I wanted to say, I'm a big believer in micro habits, at least the concept of it. I haven't executed on it very well, but the idea of for example, like the exercise bike.
Mhm.
Even if I don't use it, it's sitting there in the living room. And if I just got in the habit of getting on it every day, right?
Mhm.
Just
Okay.
5 minutes or
Mhm.
1 minute, or just sit my butt on the seat, whatever it might be, I think that would be good. Uh, Making the bed every day. Uh,
Mm.
I
What's
have
important about making the bed every day?
what is important about it?
Yeah.
Well, one, it's self-care. Two, it is a very visible example of self-care, so that my daughter's name is Sarah, so I can stop referring to her as my daughter. So Sarah, when she comes in, she can see that the bed is made, and we can make her bed every day. Also, like right now, I'm in the bedroom. I have two computers. I've been doing the easy part, which is buying stuff and getting it set up, and that's all new and shiny and whatnot. But I used to have, when Sarah was a toddler, she was in the bedroom with me, and then I had an office. I've got a 2-bedroom place. But as she's gotten older, she needs her own room. So we moved my office in here, which is why we've got some stuff uh, behind me, some books and whatnot behind me that I moved out. But it's really just one corner of my bedroom is where my computer desk is, and the other corner is my backdrop there.
Okay.
But that's not, it just isn't ideal. It's my bedroom. I know it's my bedroom. It doesn't feel like a workplace.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've got a good sized kitchen, eat-in kitchen area. So I turned the kitchen table to the side, and then one sort of the short wall, I bought a desk. I got another computer there. I've got a monitor. I've got a uh, camera, but I can't remember what the term is for it. But I mean, it's all set up. I've got
Mhm.
lights and everything. I've got it all set up. I just haven't started utilizing it. But the idea is that can be the office, and it can feel like the office. And
Okay.
also, uh, I didn't install any games on that computer, so that's strictly a work instrument.
All right.
And also, it's right there in the kitchen, and I'm hoping that it will also motivate me to keep the kitchen clean, because I want it to be this work area. I want it to
Okay.
be
Yeah.
where I get my stuff done. So what I'd like to do, one, I'd like to start doing these sessions in there, but maybe not. This isn't really work, so I'm okay with it here. Um, but yeah, so I've got this office, I've got this work area set up. I just need to
Mhm.
start using it. Another thing, and I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry about that, Renee, but
No
I
problem.
can
It's
use some
necessary.
help, right?
Mhm.
I could use some help with housework. I could use some help with errands. My place, it's all one, the living area is all one level. So there are no stairs in the living area. But from the front door to the living area, or the garage to the living area, there are stairs. It's not that big of a deal. I don't go out that much. It's really just twice a day, taking Sarah to daycare and picking her up. But man, getting groceries up those stairs sometimes is a challenge.
Okay.
And I think, 5, 6 hours a week, maybe 10 hours a week even, I could hire an assistant, a personal assistant, to help me with that, help me with some meal prep. I like to do, meal prep in advance, but oh my God, Renee, the amount of food I throw away because I buy it and then I'm tired, and then I'm tired and I'm tired. And then I'm like, damn it, you know, so I
Yeah.
throw it. So that would be something if I just hired, whether it could be a college kid, but I'd honestly rather have someone a little more, um, I don't want to disparage college kids, someone with more life experience and work experience and stuff that I could just, they could pick up the groceries and bring them upstairs. They could help me with meal prep. Um, I I don't mind cleaning, but cleaning that involves a lot of movement, like vacuuming or dusting, where I have to be all over and standing the whole time.
Mhm.
Um, if it's just, if I can crawl around and pick up Sarah's stuff and whatnot, that's fine. So I think, there's professional assistance, like working with you, or, a tax accountant at some point, get the handle on all of that huge mess. But also just to have someone come in, honestly, even if it's just 4 or 5 hours a week, to help with some stuff, and then maybe to spend some time with Sarah, because she doesn't get, I can't play with her as much as I would like to, and she's always, Daddy, are you too tired? Daddy, can you play with me? Daddy, can you? And I want to do it, but I'm just so tired.
Mhm.
So maybe somebody to help with some stuff, and then run around with Sarah a little bit
Yeah.
would be nice.
Okay.
And then, yeah. So that's another thing on my list. I have so many things I say on my list, but I don't have a list, and I probably should.